Hello, my name is Leslie Berger, and I would like to welcome you to Renew, the show about the College of Forest Resources at Mississippi State University. The College of Forest Resources enables, promotes the management and conservation of our natural resources. Today's show is going to feature the Department of Forestry, one of the 3 units within the College of Forest Resources. Here to represent that unit is Professor Josh Granger. So welcome to the show.
Thank you, Leslie. Appreciate the invitation.
Well, I'm glad you're able to come. I know it was kind of short notice, but we appreciate that. And I've been wanting to have you on here because I know you're new to Mississippi State and we haven't had a chance to visit. So I'd really like to just start by having you explain what it is your role is in the College of Forest Resources.
Okay. Well, I have kind of a unique role, I think. I am a teacher and researcher in the department, and I'm the director of the summer field program.
Right.
So I focus primarily on teaching undergraduate courses such as dendrology, forest measurements, and forest description analysis within the program.
Mm-hmm. So tell us what the forest program is. You mentioned the summer forest program. What is that?
So it's a required program for all of our forestry majors within the department, and it focuses on courses such as forest communities, forest description analysis, forest ops and harvesting, and wildlife practices. So it gives our students an opportunity to go through each of those courses and really engage on hands-on activities with our different practices in forestry and all the different aspects that forestry touches on.
Right, and I think that's one of the things that's very interesting and very unique about this program is I see you there during the summer, but really I don't see you all that very much because you spend a great deal of time out in the field learning hands-on, real world types of information right there in the field.
Yeah, we try to spend almost every single day with a good portion of that day spent in the field.
Rain or shine.
Rain or shine. We come inside for lightning, but that's about it.
Right, right. I've seen a bunch of drippy people coming in, so I know it's a very memorable experience having talked to students.
And I think the students really appreciate that. They get to go through those trials and tribulations, the rain, the heat, and they build a lot of long-term friendships.
Sure they do. So you also have a research program, things that you're interested in forest ecology, so explain that a little bit.
Yeah, so my program focuses primarily on regeneration of forestry. So different forest systems, how we regenerate those systems, and in mixed systems.
Okay.
So how we can regenerate either naturally or artificially through planting of a pine plantation with other things in it, or maybe a hardwood plantation of mixed species, with the goal being of promoting wildlife, other resources, and meeting the goals of landowners. Sure.
So how do you take what you're learning in your research then and bring it back into the classroom or back to the summer field program?
Right. So, for example, mixed stand, say hypothetically it's a upland oak and pine stand. So I take students out and we can actually measure a pine stand, measure an oak stand, and measure the mixed stands. And then physically compare those across and see what the differences in production, volume, carbon sequestration, whatever it may be. We can actually take the students so they can see that, calculate it.
Right, in the real world.
In the real world.
So for a landowners you might be working with, how does that have application?
Well, a lot of landowners currently are looking at forests in terms of other uses, not simply just timber production like we've historically focused on. In the South, we can grow pine. We can do really well at growing pine. But a lot of landowners are now looking at what can I use this stand for in terms of other uses, whether that's wildlife, aesthetics, recreation.
Sure.
And so how can we mix those stands? So I've been working on a project with the National Wild Turkey Federation at looking at what we can do to underplant mid-rotation pines in order to promote wild turkey, other wildlife.
So when you're talking about mid-rotation pines, you're talking about pines that are been growing for a crop, for yield, but halfway through there is some management that's done. That removes some of those trees, opens up the understory, but that provides an opportunity then to change a little bit what's happening on the landscape.
We can enhance the stand and potentially put things in there that produce fruit or some type of a mass that the turkeys can feed on or use for structure instead of just having an open canopy pine stand. It has its limitations, but there's an opportunity that we can capitalize on.
Sure, and so then that landowner has the opportunity to still continue to produce the timber that they might want to get that yield, to get that economic benefit, but also to get that wildlife benefit.
Exactly.
So it's more functioning like an ecosystem and less like a straight production system.
Exactly. It will impact timber at some level, but the idea is that we can restrict the impact and still gain the benefit of something else.
Sure.
And meeting those objectives.
Right. Because sometimes the landowners don't just want to maximize the yield they have on that place. They might want,
Exactly.
they have to get some economic benefit of it to pay the taxes or buy the groceries.
Right.
But they also like that wildlife benefit. And so to be able to put all that together and provide multiple benefits to that land for that same landowner is really a great
Right.
service. And for the students to be able to see that and be able to take that information with them when they leave Mississippi State, and that's a great gift that you're giving them. So I appreciate you to learn a little bit more about your program. I understand we're going to have one of your graduate students come on. I look
You
forward
are.
to visiting with him in just a few minutes after our break. I hope that you'll come back and join us in just a moment.
Want a career as big as the outdoors? Want to have an impact on the environment? The College of Forest Resources at Mississippi State University delivers hands-on training, ensuring clean air and water, wildlife habitats, and a sustainable environment. Creating new wood products and retooling old ones for today and tomorrow. Find a career in whatever path you choose. Majors in forestry, natural resource and environmental conservation, sustainable bioproducts, wildlife, fisheries, and aquaculture. Want a career as big as the outdoors? Choose the College of Forest Resources at Mississippi State University.
Discovery. It tells our history and determines our future. At Mississippi State University, we're digging deep, unlocking an understanding of our past, validating it. Middle East exploration by faculty and students is uncovering evidence that unravels ancient mysteries. Scholars have long thought of the biblical kings David and Solomon as mythological figures. Our research offers evidence that supports their existence, boosting MSU into an international league of experts on archaeology. Now we're changing the way people think about the past, opening up new possibilities of understanding for future generations. Digging deeper, learning more. Imagine a world where there's enough food to feed everyone. We are at Mississippi State University, where we ring true.
Welcome back to Renew. Today we're learning more about the Department of Forestry and the College of Forest Resources at Mississippi State University. Joining me now is graduate student Clayton Hale. So nice to see you.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I'm glad you're able to come. You're originally from Tennessee,
Yes.
according to Banner.
Yes,
My
I am.
secret records. So tell me how you ended up here at Mississippi State.
While I was completing my undergraduate at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, I had a class with Dr. Granger when he was a TA and finishing up his PhD there. Fast forward a year or so, I ended up doing a research project with Dr. Granger in Tennessee, looking at a couple of things. And then once that project kind of started to come to an end, he ended up down here and asked me if I wanted to come down here and do my master's degree with him.
That's great. So you did that research project with him at UT Knoxville
Yes.
while you were still an undergraduate.
Yes.
So how did that undergraduate research experience influence your decision for graduate school?
Oh, it was crucial. It was essentially the primary factor. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the variety of things I was able to do. I was able to be in the field. I was able to be collecting the data, but then I was also challenged once I got back into the office, doing the statistics and writing it up. And then, of course, I got to go present it at a national conference, which was a very good experience as well.
Right. So that's great. Well, so now you're going to move forward and do a
Yes.
graduate project. What's that project going to entail?
I'm going to be looking at Atlantic white cedar. It is, according to NatureServe, it is imperiled in the state of Mississippi. It only occurs in a couple stands in the extreme southern portion of Mississippi. So I'm going to be looking at that. More specifically, Dr. Granger has data from right after Hurricane Katrina came through. And so we have the records and the data of what happened after Hurricane Katrina to this stand, and we're going to reevaluate that 13 years post-hurricane, post-disturbance.
Interesting. So why is that a species of concern in the state of Mississippi? What caused it to be a species that's limited?
Primarily, one of the major cited reasons is overharvest, and when the species was harvested, the management afterwards was not correct to replenish that species.
Okay. So he's able to take his expertise, or he's hoping to bring his expertise of studying regeneration of forests and
Yes.
look at how that can be done to promote the recovery of the species in
Yes.
that region.
That's exactly right.
Excellent. So where do you see this kind of information, this experience as a graduate student taking you in the future?
I really like doing research, and so I hope that this continues continues into a career of research here on out.
So do you see yourself working in academia or for a state or federal agency, or how do you see that playing out?
Any of the above. You know, U.S. Forest Service does hire researchers to go in and look at that kind of thing, but also academia is definitely the kind of logical route as well.
So did your undergraduate research project have to deal with regeneration, or was it just forest ecology, or what was that?
It was forest ecology. We were looking at, Dr. Granger had a planting that he put in 2014. It was a mixed species planting of pine and oaks. And I went in and looked at the best way that we can plant oaks and pine trees to increase the biodiversity that comes in under that planting. While Dr. Granger was looking at kind of commercial and some different aspects like that, I was looking at the biodiversity that can come in under it.
Right. Well, that sounds wonderful. I like this approach, looking at sort of a systems approach. So
Yes.
I think that'll set you up well for your plans, for what it sounds like you're going to do.
Yes.
So you've only been here for just a few weeks?
Yes, about 2 weeks now or so. It's
Well,
my
you're
third week here.
For third week, okay. Well, you're familiar with the SEC, so
Yes.
all the craziness that's about to start happening here with
Yes.
football and everything will be familiar
Yep.
to you. I wish you the best. I hope to learn a little bit more about the project as you move
Awesome.
forward. And I thank the rest of you for joining us here on Renew today. I hope you've learned more about the Department of Forestry and Mississippi State University and some of the interesting work that's going on, looking at forest ecology and how we can sustainably manage our natural resources, not only for production of the natural resources that we need every day, but also for the larger societal benefits, including things like wildlife and water conservation. Thank you for joining us here at Renew. And again, if you ever have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Until we meet again, I encourage you to spend time and enjoy the natural world that we have outside. I've been your host, Leslie Berger.